name because when the explorers had first come through here, they had actually found some human bone fragments at the base of the column that's down here on the lower walkway. The bones that the men had found were later determined to be from a young Native American girl that had died in her late teens or possibly early 20s. We know that much because enough of the hip structure was found to determine that they had come from a young female. But since we never found the full skeleton of this young girl, though, we do not believe that she had actually died here in the caverns. What we believe happened is that when this girl died, she was actually buried in a sinkhole close to the surface. Over time, that sinkhole must have collapsed, and then years of rain and snow had continued to push her bones deeper and deeper into the earth, eventually washing some of the bone fragments in through one of these previously open areas in the ceiling, like the one up above. When the men had found the girl's bones at the base of that column, they were found embedded in several inches of that white mineral calcite. That had proven that they had been in our caverns anywhere from 700 to 900 years, leading us to believe that they were Native American. Later on in our tour today, we will be passing back through this area, as you can see by the lower path, and we will get to take a closer look at the formation down there, which has been named the Princess Column in honor of that young Native American girl. Unfortunately, though, as we pass through here, we will not see any bones. The bones are currently being held in storage at the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C. for further research. So we will not be seeing those today. But right now, as we continue around this next turn, we will be seeing our second view of Pluto's ghost, and then we will be entering into the main body of the caverns. At this time, we are about 97 feet below the surface of the Earth, and we will continue our descent. And just once again, everyone, as you make your way around that next turn, look down into the chasm here for your second viewing of Pluto's ghost.
They're right here, guys. Can I get a picture? Yes. Wait.
Wow.
A lot of rocks down here.
You got that right, girl. It's pretty big. Maybe back row just sees the little girls that visit. Every now and then just grabs them, eats them.
We lost the shoe.
What's that?
We lost the shoe.
Oh dear, I'll grab it. Can you grab it? It's a little bit.
Good job, Jeremiah.
these new railings.
Go with it? Okay.
No worries.
Better here than in the wishing well.
Yeah. Oh, that was fun yesterday. Somebody dropped a phone in our wishing well.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yep, and I had a fun job of getting down in there to get it. Almost falling in, so that was fun.
All right, I guess we have everybody.
Whenever you're ready.
All right, we have entered the main body of our cavern system. You may notice the air here is a little bit drier, and the rocks are certainly a lot drier. That's because we're under the crest of Cave Hill up above us on the surface, which diverts the water to the east and the west. So those areas are more active in growth, but here, not so much. A couple of neat features in this room. In the left, the far back there, you can see the frozen waterfall formation. This is an example of flowstone. Flowstone takes an estimated 300 years to grow a cubic inch, as opposed to the dripstone we saw in the beginning, which takes 120. This is a much slower process because the water is running down it more quickly, so it has sort of a 2 steps forward, 1 step back property, where the minerals get partially washed off as they're being deposited. So that does take a very, very long time to grow. That particular formation is also called Titania's Veil, after the William Shakespeare character in the play A Midsummer Night's Dream. What else am I doing? I'm totally blank.
We're also going to see a few more flowstones in this part of the caverns, like in our next chamber where we have the oldest formation.
That would be a good way to do that, yeah. Right, yeah, that's probably what I was thinking.
That's just
Yeah, yeah.
Does anyone have any questions so far?
Any bets?
No bats. Actually, really no animal life down here. There's no food source for anything to really eat. Occasionally, though, you will find some small insects closest towards the entrance, and we believe that they've actually been surviving by eating the algae off of some of the rocks. But otherwise, nothing that's down here.
Have they been able to, have they reached the ends of it? Or?
The caverns, within about a year's time, we believe the 3 explorers were able to make it through every little nook and cranny that you could really find down here. So to this day, we do believe that the entire system is fully explored. Right.
Does anybody explore it nowadays, or just what they can see? Or
Well, we have what we call an in-cave maintenance crew, so they get to the fun job of going around everywhere off path. So they've been through every little area that they could find.
All right, we are now in Overlook Chamber. We are overlooking Giant's Hall, which will be the deepest part of that tour. We'll be down there in probably about 10 minutes, so I'll tell you more about that when we get there. The biggest and coolest formation in this room is our giant redwood tree. This structure is over 7 million years old. It stands about 40 feet tall and is 120 feet around in circumference at the bottom. I feel like there's something else in there I need to touch on before I advance. I can't remember what it was. Oh, if you look in the middle real quick, actually, you can see where it's sort of cut out this groove here. That is believed to have been a natural waterfall a long time ago, which is what makes that divide here and the sort of little trail down in front of it. If you ask any of the tour guides here, though, they don't see a giant redwood tree. They see a giant shaggy dog, which is what this is most commonly referred to. If you look at the top left of it, you can see the ears hanging down. You can see the front left leg here, that groove that I pointed out between the legs, the back leg, the upper back, the big shaggy tail over here.
Or if anybody likes the movie Ice Age, it looks like Manny the Woolly Mammoth.
Oh,
Give him
yeah.
a trunk down the left.
Yeah, I can see that. Totem Valley.
Although this is actually the oldest formation in our caverns, it's not our tallest formation, and we'll see the tallest formation when we are in Giant's Hall in just a few moments. But right now we're going to move ahead to our next stop at Saracen's Tent. The area over the railing right here is called Totem Pole Valley. It's a great overlook in our caverns. If anyone has cameras, I strongly recommend taking a photo here. But if anyone does have a fear of heights, please use discretion in looking over the railing.
A little bit of version, yeah, a little bit, not strong, but
Yeah,
like this.
just a little bit, like when you look right there. Yeah.
And I always,
Yep. Me too.
I will say about half the time, yeah.
I could bring you food every now and then. Yeah.
We talked about it since it is right here. I just pointed out here. Sure. But
Yeah, yeah.
uh-oh.
Toda suja, meu.
When do we get to the water? I think that was it. No?
No, there's a wishing well.
Oh, okay.
It does look like a knockdown tree, doesn't it? Really old knockdown tree. She is ready to explore.
Yeah.
Bless you.
What is this in comparison to? We saw signs for another cavern on our way here.
There's actually quite a few other
There's
caverns
quite a few.
in this
Yeah,
area.
there's
Yeah.
quite a few.
So aside from this one, there's Skyline Caverns, Endless Caverns, Grand Caverns, Shenandoah Caverns, and I believe I'm missing one more potentially. But as far as all the others in the area, this is the largest one and probably the most decorated cavern. But each of the other ones have something different that you couldn't find in the others.
Yeah.
My personal favorite, aside from this one, would be Skyline Caverns because they have formations called anthodites, and there's only a few caverns in the world discovered to have those types of formations.
And what do they look like?
It kind of looks like sea urchins attached
Okay.
onto the ceiling,
Cool.
but they're very brittle formations. Like one touch could almost turn it into a powder. So they actually have a fencing that keeps people from touching those because they're so delicate.
That's for you, monkey.
It does. Or a towel, kind of. Or do you want to serve this? Sure, I'll do it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, right up here is Saracen's tent. This is what's known as a drapery formation. A drapery is very similar to a dripstone formation, like a stalactite or a stalagmite, but with these, it's estimated to take around 200 years for a cubic inch to grow. The reason why these take a little longer to grow is because as water comes dripping down, it starts to deposit minerals at an angle, kind of in a zigzag pattern. And with that process, it takes a little longer for these to grow. But looking on the inside of this tent, over towards the right-hand side, you will see that sometimes draperies will form so thin that light can even pass through them, like our bath towel formation inside here. It even comes complete with the border at the bottom to make it look like a real towel. That one's actually about 1/8 of an inch thick. If you don't see a towel though, so you might be incredibly hungry and look at this and see bacon. And what does bacon always go great with?
Eggs.
The correct answer is actually more bacon, but I'll settle for eggs. But we are going to see formations that look exactly like two sunny-side-up fried eggs once we get close towards the end of our tour today. But another really fun formation to point out while we are standing here is right beside the pathway, you will see a horizontal formation. That is our Great Fallen Stalactite. It is believed that that formation fell several thousand years ago due to a massive Earth disturbance, and it's also believed that that is the largest and the last formation that has fallen in our cavern since. You all can see the evidence that this formation has been laying here for quite some time because of all the growth that has already taken place over the tip of the formation along the right-hand side. You can see it's actually attached into the formation beside it now. And this stalactite is estimated to weigh over 170 tons. For being a formation that weighs that much, you would think that it would have shattered into tons of pieces when it fell. Well, the reason why it did not is because the area right below where we are standing now used to be filled with mud and water. This mud and water had acted as a natural pillow, cushioning the impact of the stalactite when it had fallen, naturally preserving it in the state that we see it today. And here in just a few moments, we are going to be passing by on the opposite side of this walkway, so you will get to take another look at this fallen stalactite, and you will see just how large that formation actually is. But right now, we are going to work our way down into the deepest part of the caverns in Giant's Hall. Please feel free to use the hand railings on the 2 ramps up ahead. Stairway. A long time ago, tour guides used to carry small rubber hammers in their pocket. And at this point in the tour guide would step off of the pathway and tap on different parts of that formation there to actually play a song. Usually something simple like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star or Mary Had a Little Lamb, just to show that the crystals inside the formation can vibrate and make tones. But we actually had a guy come in the 1950s named Mr. Sprinkle, and he saw this and then came up with an idea to give us an organ that would kind of do the same concept and tap on stalactites to make music. So we actually get to see that shortly. No, unfortunately not. And once again, everyone, as you make your way around that turn, here's another view of our fallen stalactite. You can see more of the growth this time along the far left-hand side. And as I said before, the correct answer is always more bacon. We have more up here in the lighted area.
This one looks like a little.
Yeah. Oh man, that sounds interestingly good.
Oh, here's the.
Guessing associated with the ice cream cone.
Yes, sir. Exactly. Ice cream, cone, Christmas tree, seashell.
I've heard unicorn horn from my first graders yesterday.
Cupcake, wedding cake.
I could see wedding cake. Here, cake.
Looking at clouds down here.
Random places too. stalagmite or a stalactite, whichever.
Usually,
Or
you can kind of see a meeting point, just the way that the minerals kind of start stretching outwards. With this specifically here, you can see that this is basically just a stalactite that stretched all the way to the floor and then actually met at the bottom, just because of where it starts
That narrows, I guess, yeah.
almost like melting together. But usually there's a layer, and there where you can see the difference.